what she's doing. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Guatemalan illegal migrant accused of killing veteran cop freed. Okay, is there a video with this one that you want to show?
Was there one, Rob, where he's walking out?
All right, so let me go with this, and then Vinny, I'm going to come to you.
Okay.
Virgilio Aguilar Mendez, a Guatemalan migrant, has been released after spending 10 months in custody, accused of killing a veteran police Florida cop, Sergeant Michael Konovich. The charges were dismissed by the 7th District State Attorney Office, citing Aguilar Mendez's incompetence in stand trial due to language barriers and concerns about his intellectual capacity. The arrest... I can't believe what I just read right now.
Yeah.
The arrest stemmed from an incident in May of 2023 where Konovich approached Aguilar Mendez over suspicious behavior. Body cam footage showed a struggle between them, with officers eventually retaining Aguilar Mendez, who does not speak English. Minutes after the arrest, Konovich suffered a fatal heart attack, despite Konovich's cause for death being attributed to natural causes due to several heart disease. Concerns arise over the release amid a perceived migrant crime waves fueled by illegal border crossing. Vinny.
How many more of these stories are we going to have to see with them raising their middle fingers, beating the shit out of cops? This is a clear-cut... I called it... the title is Illegal Migrant Crisis. I know, Pat, we always make fun of it because when Australians say, but by the way, this guy, illegally in the country... the cop stopped him because he saw suspicious activity. Something was going on. By the way, he had a knife on him. So he gets into a scuffle. The cop has a heart attack. None of this happens. This incident doesn't happen if the illegal person isn't in the country. And his lawyer, that scumbag right there, is like, they violated his constitutional right. The Constitution, it doesn't apply to me for an illegal person that didn't even come into this country legally. And that's one thing, okay? I called it the illegal migrant. So in Chicago, I'm just going to go down the list. Rob, you don't have to show anything. In Chicago, okay, they're having an outbreak of measles, okay, in the city-run shelters. Now they're going to require migrants staying there to get the MMR vaccine to prevent further cases. This goes to show you that they're putting them before us. And then, because Adam, this is the next story. If you don't mind me, keep going, Pat. An illegal migrant from Lebanon. Mind you, I could there's hundreds of these stories. An illegal migrant from Lebanon was caught at the border. He admitted he's a Hezbollah terrorist hoping to make a bomb, and he was headed for New York.
Do we have video on this? Rob, can you see if you can find video on this?
Well, yeah, there's his photo. There's his photo right there. Like, I'll say that again, guys. The guy was caught. This is the guy that was caught at the border. Okay. By the way, how is this not headline news? How is this not the #1 story? The guy is going to New York as if we haven't had enough bombs and terrorism and planes in New York. Openly, by the way, give him credit. At least he's an honest and open terrorist. I'm going to New York to make a bomb to blow shit up the coast.
Find the words.
Yeah, and his name has Basel. His parents were very creative. Ebadi, 22 years old, was caught at the border patrol on March 9th near El Paso, Texas. While in custody, he was asked what he's doing in the U.S., to which he replied, and I quote, "I'm going to try and make a bomb." Say what you want. Like I said, he's being open and honest. Like, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. The ones that we didn't get, they get together, they do their things, and they make something crazy happen. And the last thing, the Supreme Court yesterday indefinitely blocked Texas from enforcing immigration laws. So that's a victory for the Biden administration and Mayorkas. The invasion is back on, and the left can get in their steady flow of votes, drugs, and sex-trafficked children. The SCOTUS's orders state that the Texas authorities cannot arrest or detain illegal immigrants until the appellate court rules in the matter. This is due to Biden administration filing emergency appeals, forcing the border back open, which goes back to the point that you guys were talking about, left and right, and what are we saying? This is such a blatant invasion of what they're trying to do. Elon posted a thing after he talked with Don Lemon about what these, because Don Lemon's like, you don't know what you're talking about these illegals coming in. They're not. Pat, did you see this video? Can you speed this up, Rob? Is there any way to speed this video up?
This is who?
Elon posted this yesterday about all these illegals coming in. If you don't mind, Pat, play.
Yeah, go
look
ahead
how
play.
sick this is.
The Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved.
Like
The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
Like, think about it. That's exactly what's happening. And like, I'm going back to the cop that died dealing with an illegal. It's only a matter of time till one of the terrorists that they didn't catch actually makes it to New York. But like, because in all reality, they're already there. They're already where they need to be. They just caught this one guy, and it's only a matter of time till it happens. And it drives me crazy that these people, like Lake and Riley's family, has to mourn. This cop's family has to mourn because none of it happens to these people like Mayorkas. Do you think Mayorkas or Joe Biden or anybody in the administration's family is getting affected? Is any of their family members getting killed, Pat? Or any of their cop cousins getting dealing with the guy that had a knife? No, and that's why I don't wish negative upon people, but I hate the fact that it's happening to good people and not to them.
Tom, thoughts?
Well, before people react to the Supreme Court on this one real quick, the Supreme Court made the right decision. State do state things, federals do federal things, and Texas can't arrest people that the federal government says can come across the border. The problem is the federal government allowing it to happen. Once they're in Texas, Texas can arrest them for doing illegal things and protect its people. But the fact that that's a federal border that the federal government says can be porous is the crime here. And Texas is trying to do everything they can to protect its people. But in this case, the Supreme Court is right, and I hate that they're right, but they're right. And what I see in this is, how can you not read it like this? How can you not read that they're just trying to put in a single party rule and a permanent majority? For what? Okay. What is it? It makes you believe in the whole globalist agenda that this is only chapter 1.
Rob, here's what I want you to do. Can you do me a favor and type in the word of the terrorist? Basel Ebadi. Yep. Okay, now I want you to see this. Okay, and go to, okay, look at, no, don't do anything, just zoom in a little bit, zoom in if you could. Who's written about it? Fox News, New York Post, Hindustan Times.
Nope, that's it.
But do me a favor, go more news, and zoom in. CNN wrote about it, right there, go down, right there. Fed investigates Lebanese. NBC wrote about it, okay, no problem.
CNN.
Migrant caught at border wrote about it. Okay, keep going.
And nobody else.
Now, take that name and go to YouTube. Okay, take that name and go to YouTube, copy, paste, and go to YouTube and type in the name of the guy. Just copy, put the name in. Nobody commented on it.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Go Lord. The only person I commented on it was New York Post. Look at that. And look how many views it got. 2,300 views.
Is that crazy?
Go Lelore. Basel is Switzerland. Basel, Switzerland. Keep going. There it is. It's sad to see the state of affairs. Okay, they just talked about it right now. Maybe that's what that story is about 44 minutes ago. And that's it. There's nothing else about that story.
Weird. Isn't that, like, how do you take that? Why not? How is that not number one?
Maybe they're going to respond to it today. Maybe, we're not being fair with them where they're going to be reacting to it today. Maybe there's so many stories that they don't want to. Maybe they're so immigration out where they're kind of like, man, we've been doing so much of this illegal immigration stuff that we have to get some new stories here. Mm-hmm. And maybe they just don't want to cover the story because it goes against the story that they want, especially the mainstream media.
Well, the beauty for them is, though, guess what? Once it does happen, and it's going to happen, something is going to happen, you know what they're going to say? Well, guys, we love people. We want to let everybody in because the Statue of Liberty, and that's how they're going to spin it. They're going to win regardless.
Here's some stats that Kelly sent in. The ones they caught In 2023, 169 individuals on the terrorist watch list apprehended.
Were caught.
Right, caught.
Got you.
18 individuals on the terrorist watch list apprehended in September alone. At least 1.7 million known gotaways since 2021, okay? 598 known gang members arrested in 2023, including 178 from MS-13 coming into the streets here. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, this is why this is the number one issue in the country at this point. You know, a year ago it was inflation. You know, they famously say it's the economy, stupid. At this point, how can this not be the number one issue in the country? This is a national security issue. This is everything and everything in between. The open border Biden administration doctrine is disastrous. And the fact that he had sort of the mocking tone in the State of the Union, I mean, to me, this is like the number one reason that the Democratic Party is just so completely out of touch with the American values at this point. This is not what the Democratic Party at least stood for decades. This is not what Clinton stood for. You know, Obama was the deporter in chief. You know, people forget that Obama deported more migrants than anybody else. So I don't know what the hell Biden learned from Obama. This ain't it. But there are levels to this thing. Yeah, there it is, deporter in chief. There's a difference, you know, it's a spectrum. There's a difference between coming for asylum and literally looking for safety. There's a difference between being a trafficker or gang member. There's a big difference between MS-13, how do you call it? Maracela Chucha.
Maracela Trucha.
You do that so good. And then there's a big difference between jihadi terrorists. So, you know, what's wrong with Hezbollah coming into the country, Vin? I mean, what's wrong?
Yeah, okay.
Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, they're all great people.
Yeah.
But so just so you understand, not to get to be all like combative, this is exactly why us Americans have no clue what Israel is going through right now. Because Hamas is Hezbollah. Hezbollah is the Houthis. Houthis are ISIS. It'd be the equivalent of Canada, Mexico, Cuba, all trying to blow up America. So yes, I mean, not to get all into the Israel situation, can you talk about Netanyahu and what they're doing a little extreme? But if every one of your neighbors is literally a jihadi terrorist, like the Houthis, like the Hezbollah, like Hamas, how do you deal with it? Americans have no clue, zero clue what it's like to live in war. The closest thing we've ever had to it is Pearl Harbor, World War II in Hawaii, and maybe the Cuban Missile Crisis. Were you alive for that, by the way? Cuban Missile Crisis.
9/11 was pretty bad.
Okay, that was bad, but it's not like they were attacking each one of us. That was one big thing. Horrible. I get it. And your friend Steve Schmidt thinks that January 6th was worse than that.
Yeah.
But we have no clue what it's like protecting your citizens if every single day you're dealing with somebody literally trying to come into the country and kill you.
By the way,
big difference.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Mr. Handsome, single, connecting with women that want to have babies
and men.
You know,
but you can't have babies.
We got to get you to respond back faster than 7 days. But
we'll do our best.
the one thing that I want to tell you is the following. You ready? I love how concerned you are, okay, and how paranoid you are. And by the way, I'm thinking of what you're saying, and I'm actually visualizing how concerning it would be to raise your kids in that climate. Just like my parents were worried about raising me in Iran.
They should be, yes.
And did Iran lose democracy?
Yes.
Yes. Do you see the risk
But Iran never had a democracy.
Well, under the Shah, it was a very...
It was imperialism.
It was imperialism, but it was
democracy.
It was like UK, Britain, okay? It was like UK, Britain, because you had a king, just like they have a king. You had certain similar capitalism was alive. You know, people would be very... If the leaders of the world wanted to meet somewhere, they would go in Iran and have business meetings. Okay, then go in other places.
There's no doubt that under the Shah, despite critiques, was way better than whatever the theocracy is going on there.
But you know what happened?
No doubt, yes.
He did not believe the threat of Khomeini. The Shah thought he was not a threat. And all his people from the inside, his Savak, which is our CIA, UK's MI6, when they told them, this guy Khomeini, stop thinking he's not a big deal. His tapes are circulating in the streets and people are listening to him. They're sending the tapes and they're telling people to dub the tapes and give it to everybody else. Boom, Iran falls. That's when? February of 1979, January of 1979. That's how many years ago? 45 years ago. Iran is still a dangerous place where you and I cannot go there for vacation. And I'd love to go there today. If I had my way, I'd love to take the kids there today, but it's not a safe place to take there. That's the part where all of these people are coming the way they are. Borders are wide open. 10 million people came in. Maybe the democracy is on the line if we don't get our act together in 2024. And here's what we're going to be doing, folks. One of the names that a lot of people are saying that is on the short list of people they're considering as a vice president for 2024 is going to be on the podcast live. And by the way, again, I want to remind you guys, tickets will sell out
as soon as
ASAP.
Yeah.
She has a new book coming out. And everybody who attends, no matter what tier of the ticket you buy, we are buying a copy of the book for you. And she has agreed to sign the book for you. And that's none other than, Rap, if you want to play the clip for the next live podcast coming up at $59.90 live, here's who it'll be. Go ahead, Rob.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party.
Tulsi Gabbard says she is no longer a Democrat.
A potential Tulsi Gabbard VP.
Where we are being told that we just have to comply and go along with whatever they say. American people are smarter than this. However, we must remain vigilant to recognize their propaganda for what it is, pure lie. Unfortunately, we live in a time where free speech is under attack. Whatever they say goes, and we have to just follow. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
There we go.